Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It really means so much to me. In this series, I am reading the book The Lost Boys of Bird Island, and that's part of my investigation into this matter and to compile a full deep dive video of this. I'm not going to go through all the chapters that we've already done. I went through chapter 1 to 6 already. You will get a link on top if you want to go and listen to those two videos. And then I also just want to add that me reading this book doesn't say that I have one opinion or the other, saying that is a hoax or it is absolutely true. It is just me reading a book, and that is for educational and documentary purposes. So let's start reading. So the name of chapter 7 is Mr. Ears. I think this will be a very interesting chapter in this book. Let's see. I head back to my office so that I can listen closely to the recording of the older brother's version of events. I will have to anchor my investigation on the evidence of both brothers. I don't have anything else to go on at this point. I take solace in knowing that half a dozen cold beers are waiting for me in the mini fridge. Geez, this guy and his alcohol, seems like half of the time he's not sober. That's not a good thing. Leaning back in my ultra-comfortable chair, I crack open a can. I'm quite chuffed with myself as I've accomplished a lot today. The beer is my reward. And that's what I just said. I think he actually got this case because he's not doing much in his narcotic department. So they actually tried to give him something to do something for once. I either tape record on my desk, lean across and press play. The boy explains that it all started years before when a man who called himself Uncle Dave approached him while he was playing pool at the city snack pool den. I know the place. It's a popular hangout and I have to change a few of these words because YouTube won't like it if I say it. So the one type of people that's there is the people that is managing ladies of the night. The next one is the ladies of the night, and then obviously the dealers where they get some stuff from. Of course, customers gather there too. It's a perfect spot for parents to pick out a young boy left to his own devices. The witness, who was then only 14, says he had never met this Uncle Dave before. He knew all the other local moffies who would come to the den for a quick one. A handjob in a car in a quiet back street. We get 20 rand, the boy says. The problem for the kid is that he has a drug debt. He owes the local dealer 5 rand for a bag of marijuana he had bought one night before. All such debt need to be settled within 24 hours. This I know. It's my job to bust these guys. If you don't pay, the dealer sends a heavy to rough you up. It's the way it is and the way it has been for ages, everywhere across the planet, where crime thrives just below the apparently placid surface of everyday life. And I think him saying it's the way it's been for ages just tells me a bit into how comfortable he is in his job, in his town as a narcotics detective. Nothing new, same old, same old. Let's continue. It's easier for the boys to do a client when they are drunk or high. It doesn't feel real. The boy forgets about it quickly. But it's a vicious cycle. Get out to your corner or the street or the pool bar, buy the dope, smoke it, do the client, get paid, pay the dealer. Repeat over and over. The boy told me he went with this stranger to get the dealer off his back. Uncle Dave is a nice guy, says the boy. He drove the boy to a secluded spot not too far from the pool bar where the child jerked him off. Then the man paid him and dropped him off back at City Snack. I know lots of young boys like this. I have seen them while doing my undercover work. They are streetwise and often homeless. Many don't have parents, or if they do, they don't care. Many are addicts or alcoholics. That's how you survive in a country filled with violence and prejudice. There are two sides of this war, those who are the victims and those who are called to do the work of the existing government. White men like me. We are keeping it all in place in some way. And it's very strange that he would say, we're keeping it all in place in some way. It feels like he's not really doing anything but just the bare minimum. I mean, whatever this boy tells him from the surface, he knows it already. He knows that there's boys doing whatever to get a buck, to get their fix, to pay the dealer. They know it all. So this obviously isn't strange to him. He knows that there's a dark underbelly to where he lives. But he still says we're keeping it all in place somehow. I mean, it was destined to just unravel. Underneath the bureaucracy of it all, the brutal law, I know we are all the same, but I don't think about it too much. I just want to do my job. And that's the thing. This guy just wants to do his job, the bare minimum. He doesn't want to do more than that. He wants to do his job, go and get his drink, and then repeat. Uncle Dave clearly fancied the older brother because the boy tells me that the man came back regularly for more quick ones. And in the next sentence, I have to change up a word again. Soon the contact graduated from mutual masturbation to full-blown sexual activities. That obviously happened more than once. The liaisons moved from the car to either a hotel or Uncle Dave's house. And then comes the bombshell. The boy tells me he was taken to Bird Island for this sexual activities. Not only with Uncle Dave, but with other men as well. So I just feel a heavy rock dropping in the pit of my stomach. I mean, this is going to a not so good place very fast. And then the bombshell. The boy tells me he was taken to Bird Island for sexual contact. Not only with Uncle Dave, but with other men as well. Bird Island is the largest of the Algoa Bay Islands just off the coast of Port Elizabeth. Seal Island and Stag Island lay nearby. The islands are a well-known breeding spot for a variety of bird species. There are also conservation areas. There is a lighthouse on Bird Island built in 1898. Desolate and isolated, Bird Island is one of only 6 breeding grounds in the world for the Cape Gannet. My ears prick up. This sounds more like an organized ring than an occasional casual pickup. Who are these men, I wonder, as the boy's voice hesitates on my tape? And that's the thing. There is definitely more to a story when a boy is taken to an island. I mean, there's way more logistics to that than just driving around the corner or booking into a hotel or even, wow, just imagine that, taking one of these boys to your home. I don't know if he has a wife, if he's got children. So there's way more logistics to taking a boy to an island, and he said more men, so it's definitely a planned thing, and you don't just go to an island for an hour. It must have been a overnight thing or a weekend thing. The boy says that Uncle Dave would regularly arrange for the boys to be flown to Bird Island where they would entertain men. For the kid, these trips were a bit of an adventure because the boys would be picked up in a helicopter. It was hugely exciting, he says. And once on the island, the boys would be treated to a braai with plenty of meat and alcohol. So they say plural, so definitely it's a arranged thing that they pick up a few boys and then take them to the island. And they were taken to the island with a helicopter. And that's the thing that they did mention in the YouTube video that I watched, but it's just something to remember. When the boy's younger brother Igor turned 12, He too began to hang out at the pool den at the weekends. But then Uncle Dave was a known regular. Soon he was insisting that Igor accompany them on the pickups. The man offered to pay double, the older brother confesses. The deal, however, is that the man leaves the younger boy out of it. Uncle Dave agrees to this but suggests that the younger brother watch them having sexual activities. And so they drove to the man's house in Benver Avenue, Schoenmakerskop, a picturesque suburb southwest of Port Elizabeth. The presence of his younger brother, the boy tells me, seemed to affect Uncle Dave. He is more aggressive in his sexual approach. He forces the older boy to kiss him, which he says he hates. The act itself he describes as almost feral, with the older man grunting like an animal. And that's actually something you hear a lot of people say or mention with Epstein also, that animalistic sounds that he was making. The anal sexual acts was painful, the boy says, so much so that his anus was ruptured. But he claims that the payment afterwards, double the usual amount, made up for it. And this is just so heartbreaking that there's people out there, kids, that really, really craves whatever they are dependent on, or just having money in their back pocket, that they are actually willing to do this. And not just willing to do it often. And then this boy, he said that he doesn't want his brother involved, but he actually then made his brother sit in a corner and watch him watch everything being done to him. There can't be any consent if this boy was underage. And I think if anything in this book is true or not, we know that stuff like this are happening out there. And whether you take this book as factual or fiction, this is just the truth for so many boys out there. I'm taken aback by the boy's nonchalance, the matter-of-fact way he tells me this part of the story. He sounds numb as he recounts it on the tape. This has happened a lot of times before, so it's normal for this boy. He's actually waiting for this to happen so he cannot just get his quick buck, but he can get real money in his back pocket. And it's just so sad. Afterwards, when the man had dropped both boys off at the pool bar, he had bought food for his younger sibling. We had a foot-long hot dog with chips and salad, he says. The details of the meal are clearly important to him. It's not often he can afford to be extravagant. The older brother goes on to explain, as he grew older, Uncle Dave began to lose interest in him, preferring the younger brother, who had just turned 13. Uncle Dave began passing the older sibling off into his friends. And we also hear that so many times, that when boys and girls get to a certain age, the people using them are just not interested in them anymore. It is then that the boy first talks of one particular vicious uncle, a man who all the boys reckons was a sadist. I listen carefully, waiting to catch each detail. This man, the boy says, is well known because of his distinctive ears. Because of his physical characteristics, the boy calls him ore. That's an Afrikaans name for ears. Next, the boy goes into detail about what happened to him just 2 days earlier. He says he can't remember much apart from Uncle Dave approaching him at City Snack and telling him that 2 of his friends would like to be entertained. The man gave him an address on a slip of paper and 320 rand, a tidy sum which included the taxi fare. The address was a block of holiday apartments, the boy tells me. I know the spot. The boy recalls that when he arrived at the apartment, there were 2 older men there. One was lying on the bed and the other was in the bathroom, apparently taking a bath. The man in the bathroom instructed the guy on the bed to pour the boy a drink. This guy didn't seem happy about being told what to do and had muttered, "Bliksemse ore." When the man went into an adjoining room to fetch the drink, the boy peeked inside the bathroom. They had caught a glimpse of a man with protruding ears lolling in the tub. The boy tells me that he recognized the man in the tub, which made him panic. He considered making a run for it, but how would he escape? And besides, he had already been paid a handsome sum. The man who had been lying on the bed returned with a strong alcoholic drink. The boy says he thinks it was brandy and coke. No one spoke as the child sipped the drink. The man with the jug ears remained in the bath. And then, "I remember nothing," the boy says. "I promise, sir, it's a blank. And now I'm here in the hospital." That's my story. And that's the end of part 7. And again, fact or fiction, stuff like this happens. And just the fact that this boy was drugged, never been drugged before, he always complied with whatever they wanted to do and then took his money. And then they're talking about this other guy who is seemingly a rough guy. He obviously wanted to do more to the boy, or he had some other sort of fetish that he wanted to act out. And that's the reason why they then put something in this boy's drink. So let's move on to chapter 8, Lucky Break. I'm trying to attach faces and identities to 2 perpetrators. The victim, the older brother, says the men don't use names. Terms of address are reduced to sir, you, and uncle. But these have to be relatively prominent people. They clearly have money or connections. Helicopters don't come cheap. And not just that they don't come cheap. I don't think any guy would just hire out a helicopter. It's not as if anyone can fly a helicopter. So it's not, "Hey dude, can I quickly borrow your vehicle? I just want to go to the shop," and you get the keys and you drive. You actually have to have someone flying the helicopter from one place to another. So that person flying the helicopter knows exactly who's going on it and who's going off it. And it's obvious if there's older men flying with younger men to a secluded island, what's going to happen. So this was no secret. Never mind coming cheap. My strategy is to start by investigating the scene of the actual assault at the holiday apartments. Perhaps someone recalls seeing or hearing something the night the boy was there. But at the block of flats, I'm immediately stumped at reception. I could have guessed it beforehand. Few people use their real names booking into these joints. Signatures are just scrawls in a register. The receptionist is a heavy, made-up old hand in the business. Her face and body reveals the sign of rapid aging brought on by years of too much drinking and partying. Yeah, I was on that particular night, Sergeant, but nothing out of the blue happened on my shift. I clocked off around 6 a.m. It was only the next night that I heard someone had called an ambulance to take a guest to the hospital. Okay, so that's interesting. I would think then that the ambulance was called after 6, so the boy was only taken by ambulance after 6 the next morning, because if it had happened before she had clocked off, she would have known about it. Just then I spot a surveillance camera. Are the gods smiling on me? Are there any more of those cameras in the building? I ask. No, that one is for our protection. When we take in a lot of money over weekends, don't want any criminals here. We don't like that sort, you know. Yeah, like hell, I think to myself. I know what goes on in these types of establishments. And I was thinking about CCTV cameras, but obviously this book was not written when it happened. It happened way back when. So I actually assumed, and that's why they say never assume, I actually assumed that there won't be any cameras. So even if it's just that camera, they would obviously see who's booking in with a child or that the child came afterwards, but then he didn't really book in. I'm not sure how that sort of establishments work actually. So, what about the tape covering the date in question? Yeah, it's running in the machine. We use the same tape all the time. Put it in and then it reaches the end and starts again. Runs for 7 days. Good. Find a new tape because I'm going to need that one. She's reluctant but has no choice except to hand it over. But at the office, I play the old beta tape on the video machine. The date and time display shows that the recording started a few hours before my witness would have entered the building. 4 hours before, to be exact. However, the tape is really poor quality, like the cheap surveillance equipment at the apartment block. I squint at the wobbly scene shown on the wobbly tape. It's difficult to identify any faces. Irritated, I fast forward to the approximate time the victim would have entered the building. I see a figure entering the lobby. This could possibly be my guy. The time is about right if I go according to the boy's testament. And then the guy's gone. I squint at the screen for the next 15 minutes. Nothing. I fast forward, looking for two figures exiting the building together. Again, nothing. The victim doesn't know when or how he left the apartment. He was clearly drugged or unconscious. The time on the surveillance tape is now 4:30 a.m. Suddenly, something catches my eye. Two figures exit the building at exactly 4:33 a.m. I write this info down. I think this might be the suspects, but I need to be sure. I continue forwarding the tape until the timer gets to 8 a.m. Nothing of interest. And now I realize I didn't give you guys or did I? Chapter 8, the name of the chapter is Lucky Break. Okay, so nothing of interest. I realize that the only way I can get anything valuable out of this tape is with some expert assistance. I need a technical whiz kit. I know exactly who to contact. My friend, Terry, who heads the mobile police video unit. He's a genius in modern technology. I pick up the phone and dial his number. Terry, are you in the office at the moment? Yes, as you can hear, I answered my phone, he replies sarcastically. Wait right there, mate. Don't move. I grabbed the tape and rushed down the corridor, the smell of those damn toilets still lingering, but I have to pass this way in order to get to Terry's office, which also means I have to pass the brigadier's office. My deadline for the report back has long expired, by more than 24 hours at this point. I'm convinced the brigadier is going to chew me up and spit me out. His door is open, so I can't avoid him. It appears as if he has anticipated my arrival. And that's quite strange. I mean, his report back is overdue by more than 24 hours, so he couldn't just let his brigadier know that he is working on this case, what he had found it out up until whatever date he spoke to him. So he just gives the brigadier feedback when he's finished, or how does that work? So communication, if that's the issue, then that's the issue. Afternoon, Max. Come inside, son. Something's amiss. Why is he being so friendly? Sir, concerning yesterday, I tried phoning. Not to worry, Max. The old girl let me know how you helped her son. She has the utmost respect for you. Good work so far, lad. Now, fill me in on the rest. I relate to the brig in as complete a manner as possible what the hospitalized victim had told me. He's happy enough with the report back. Okay, so kudos to the brigadier that he didn't actually phone him back and give him some sort of a hiding because he didn't report back to him, but now we know why he didn't. That went surprisingly well, I tell myself after the briefing. I'm not sure why, but I'll figure it out later. What's uppermost in my mind is getting to Terry's office and doing something with the tape. Terry has mastered his state-of-the-art equipment, and I've always reckoned that he's too smart for the South African police force. He should be working for Apple or that genius guy in America. I think his name is Bill something. And with all the conspiracy theories going around, I think I'm happy that he didn't go work for Bill something. Terry is waiting for me. I explained what I need, and he put the tape in one of his gadgets. The time seems to crawl by while he fidgets with various controls. He senses my frustration. I know that the dude is really giving it his best shot, but I'm expecting miracles, and that's not fair. Soon my hopes of a quick breakthrough begin to diminish. Finally he turns to me and says, "That's the best I can do, Max. The tape has obviously been used over and over again. It's in terrible condition." I edged him out of his seat and look at the still image in front of me. I can make out two figures exiting the building. The one in the right is closest to the camera. He's about one pace ahead of the man on the left. Both of their heads are bowed. I can't make out a distinctive profile. I'm gutted. I try one last time. "Can you forward this pic by one frame, Terry?" The guy on the right is closest to the security camera. One more frame and he'll be closer to me on the screen. "I'll try." "Do it," I insist. Terry fiddles with the knob and then I see it. "Stop!" I cry out. I move closer to the monitor, desperately looking for something. Anything that will give me a clue to the identities of these suspects. And then I see it. "Have a look, Terry, and tell me what you see." "I'm looking, Max. I'm not sure what you want me to see." "The ears, Terry, the ears." The dude on the right has got protruding ears. They look like friggin' wingnuts. I'm overjoyed. Perhaps this is my lucky break. I grab Terry by his regular-shaped ears and hand him a fat kiss on his bald head. And that's it for Chapter 8. And I think that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much. If you made it till the end, please give me your feedback in the comment section below. Thank you so much for the love and appreciation that I got for the past 2 videos. I did say that I'm going to move this book over to my audiobook channel, but I will continue this book on this channel, and then from the next book I'll move it over because so many of you love the fact that I'm reading this book. So I'm going to leave it on this channel for now. Please do me a huge favor and go check if you are subscribed. If not, please hit that subscribe button. It's helping the channel out way more than you can know. Also hit the like button. That way it shows the algorithm that this video is worth watching, worth listening to, and I really think it's for a good cause. Reading the book, again, it's not to say that this book is true or not, but it's actually I feel to shine light on things that's truly happening. So again, thank you so much for your love, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.